Okay, there we go.
All right, welcome to another Ask Me Anything. I am Melissa Edwards, the Director of Education at Eastern Music Festival, and tonight I have a special guest. I'd like to introduce to you Chauncey Patterson. He is on our viola faculty at Eastern Music Festival, so he's going to tell you a little bit about his perspective of Eastern Music Festival and his experiences. So Chauncey, it's all on you now.
I have so much to say about Eastern Music Festival. First of all, anybody that knows me anywhere, I'm in Miami now. That's where I live during the year. And I spend my summers at Eastern Music Festival. And I've done that since I was probably in the 9th grade, with the exception of about 10 or 15 years when I was with a string quartet that toured during the summer and I couldn't be there. I love EMF for many, many reasons. First of all, as a student, I couldn't wait to go every summer because it was the place that I could go. And there were other kids my age that were into music as much as I was. I heard so many things there for the first time, of the best professional orchestra I'd heard in my life, and lots of the big stars and guest artists of the day of my time. Leonard Rose, Michael Tree, I can go on, James Buswell, all these guys who are older now and teach at some of the finer conservatories, some have passed on. But I loved EMF because of the orchestral aspect. And I learned so many orchestral pieces there. There are a lot of other camps that are practice camps. Of course, you practice at EMF, but I learned to play an orchestra at a very early age, and I learned actually what it was like to be in a professional orchestra at a very early age, which you don't get in a lot of other festivals. The student orchestras there are independent, and they do a concert a week with the exception of the first week, I think. We used to do that at least. I think that's still the way it is, right, Melissa?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing at how quickly the repertoire comes in. It gives you an idea. It really, truly, of all the festivals, I think it gives you a really realistic idea of what it's like to be a professional orchestral musician. Of course, there's chamber music and private lessons as well, and those augment the program. But what I got out of it was I knew what I wanted to do, and I was sure that I wanted to do it after EMF. And when I got into the professional world and got my first orchestral position, it was very much like my experience with EMF from a dozen or so years earlier than that. And I've considered it. I still remember pieces that I heard for the first time at EMF. I played Beethoven's 7th Symphony last week with our music director, Jerry Swartz, who's principal viola of the Palm Beach Symphony here in South Florida. He's the music director of EMF and our music director at Palm Beach just as recently as 2 years ago. And as soon as we started playing it, I remember the moment, and I remember where I was in Dana Auditorium, which is the Holiday Eastern Music Festival, when I heard this piece live for the first time. I'm getting goosebumps right now because there's so many pieces like that. I'll hear something on the radio, I'm like, oh man, I remember when I heard this at EMF, or I remember when I heard this, and it's just, my relationship with EMF has been amazing as a faculty member and as a student.
Well, tell me a little bit more about how being a teacher at EMF is different than being a student.
Wow, it's very much, and we as musicians and artists, we're students for life. I was saying this to somebody yesterday. I played a chamber music concert yesterday with the Brahms Clarinet Quintet and the Clarinet Quintet of Sam Kohler's. And I played this at EMF 3 summers ago. And I've learned since then. And the learning process at EMF as a faculty member is you hone your teaching skills and you pass on what you've learned to your students. That's kind of the tradition of music, and it's very much so at EMF. It's a very busy schedule, and I feel like when I'm there, I always think, wow, I wish this could last all year long. I wish I could be in this setting all year because there's so much music. You just always music. There's always something to go hear. There's so much to learn. You can visit master classes of other instruments, and you learn so much. I learned so much there, not just about viola, but about orchestra, about chamber music, about flute playing, about trumpet playing, and all that. When the conductors are working, whether it's in the professional orchestra or the student orchestras, and they're rehearsing and working with other instruments, you hear the kind of things they ask for, and you learn from that. Being a faculty member is doubly rewarding because I've been in the position of the students there. So I know what it's like. I know what the schedule's like, and I know I help them with their orchestral parts as well as their solo music because, you need to practice that as well. I could go on and on, but that's the basic how I feel about being a faculty member. It's like I'm being a student again in the greatest way.
That's great. Yeah, our program, I think, is very special because of the closeness of the faculty and students in terms of everybody's willing to give of their time and their knowledge to each other. And I just think that makes it really special that we have this really unique, very nurturing environment for 5 weeks in the summer where everybody can learn something from everybody.
Yeah, nurturing, that's the key word. I really find that to be. And I've been at a lot of festivals, a lot of different festivals. Yeah. I've taught at a number of different festivals. And for me, EMF is definitely the best all-around festival for a young, aspiring orchestral musician, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about the application process while we're waiting for some questions to come in. Okay. For those who wish to apply for EMF, the application deadline is coming up on February the 21st, but know that we'll continue to take applications until all the positions are filled for the summer. But those who apply by the 21st get top priority in terms of scholarship and acceptance. So we definitely would love to get your applications in by that deadline. And to apply, you just go either to our website or to Accepted, which is our hosting platform. And there you'll fill out an application. And if you're requesting scholarship, that's part of the application process. You can answer some questions for that. And then you upload your videos, and it lists in Accepted what you need to submit. And then you submit your application, and then it comes to me, and then I take it from there. As I said, the applications are due February 21st. Most of the acceptances or notifications will be going out probably right around March the 1st. So it takes us about a week and a half to review the audition tapes and our recordings, and then if they need processing for scholarship, we go through the committee to determine that, and then you'll receive your acceptance paperwork if you're accepted, and it will include your scholarship package if we are able to offer any to you. So it will come all in one package, and you'll have about 2 weeks to reserve your spot, and then we go from there and get ready for the summer.
Great.
Yeah, we have scholarships. We have both merit and work study or need-based scholarships. If you're applying for merit, that's based on your audition. And if you're applying for the work study program or need-based scholarship, that requires further information as well as submitting tax forms to us so that we can take a look at that for scholarship purposes. And then once we have process that, all those forms are shredded, so for your security. And then we also just ask that you mark through any sensitive information on those forms before you send them, again, for your protection. But we do take care of those and securely shred them and destroy them so that you can feel safe with that process. All right, do we have anybody out there with questions? We'll just wait a minute and see. A little bit about campus. We use the Guilford College campus for our summer program. The students are housed in dormitories on the campus. Most likely this summer, it'll be single occupancy per room. Usually we're double. I'm having trouble talking tonight. Double occupancy. But because of COVID and wanting to make sure everybody's safe and secure and healthy, we probably will be doing single occupancy rooms in the dorms. And then the faculty live in housing on campus in another part of campus. So everybody's on campus together. And as I said before, it's just a great musical community. Oftentimes you'll see some of the faculty in the dining hall with students, chatting, or you'll see them congregating around campus, talking shop. So I think that makes it extra special. The dining hall situation might be a little different this summer, but we still will, I'm sure, have ways for folks to hang out and, talk music or whatever else they want to talk about as a group. Okay, Micah Roberts, welcome. What level do you have to be to participate? Well, I consider we're a pretty advanced program. I mean, we do take younger participants because we want to give everyone the opportunity to get better on their instrument. You do have to audition to get accepted, but we don't just look at the level of playing. We want to make sure that we have someone, who's really interested and we know is going to learn a lot from the program. And then we help nurture that and we help them learn what they need to get better as a musician, because we are an educational program, not a program for those who've already taught or already, have a extremely high level of playing. I mean, we do have those hit EMF too, but the most important thing is we're here to teach and help people get better on their instruments and just enjoy playing.
Yes, I want to add, I don't know if Micah is it Micah or Michael?
I think it's Micah.
Okay, Micah, I don't know if it's a string player or a wind player, but I can tell Micah.
Yeah, can you let us know, Micah, what instrument you play? We'll give him another minute or so.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that just for string players, it's important to know because I know.
Horn player.
Oh, okay. Doesn't matter then. But I'll just add this video.
I can talk horn.
In the string section, and particularly in the viola section, I know for sure, and I think in the violins it works that way as well. It's not always the seating, the way the seating goes, it's not always the strongest to the weakest. In fact, we pair up people and we move everybody around the section in the viola section so that more experienced players get to play with less experienced players, and some less experienced players get to play in the front of the orchestra rather than the back all the time. It's not, you don't get stuck in one spot like you do in your youth orchestra. Right. And I think that is wonderful. I love that. And that's really part of the nurturing aspect of EMF. It's not about, challenging somebody for a chair and then being stuck there all summer. If you don't do well or you don't know something, we mix it up and we learn, like Melissa says, everybody learns from everybody else. Absolutely. And I hope the dining room situation isn't too disturbed our breakfast club we used to have, Melissa.
I know, that's right.
We eat every morning for breakfast.
That's the best part of the day.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. It gets us started. We talk about the performances from the night before, and it's really great. And in addition, in the viola section, we have a viola boot camp that one of our faculty members, Sarah Cote, runs, and that's not even in the curriculum, but that gives an example of the extra camaraderie and the extra education that goes on that's not on the books. She does a boot camp in the morning where you go over etudes and we talk about viola playing. We work on certain passages that may be struggling with in the orchestra that week. And it's just wonderful. EMF is great. I can't say enough. I can't wait. I missed it so much last summer.
I know. It was strange not being there in person this past summer.
I told you that I drove up to, I was in North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. That's where I grew up. And I spent my summers there. I live in Miami now. But I just drove. I was so sad one day. I was like, I got to drive up to Guilford College, and I just drove up there and drove around. It actually made me sad. It didn't make me any happier. But I just missed it so much. I wanted to see the campus. I drove by Dana Auditorium. I drove by Milner Dorm. I said that's how much I love it and miss it. So I'm looking forward to going back very much.
Yeah. Okay. Micah says I guess, I don't know if you're male or female, Micah. Sorry, I may be assuming something. But horn players, it's sort of similar. It is competitive to get in. There are 12 spots for horn, but within the section, everybody rotates. So you might play principal horn on one piece. You might play fourth horn on the next piece, or, assistant, with the faculty one week. It just depends. So you will move around in the section quite a bit and between the orchestras so that you get a chance to work with the other faculty and conductors. And so, the faculty do a great job of moving folks around to give you your moment to shine at EMF. Does that help, Micah?
I'm going to change my perspective. If I turn off my iPad by accident, I'll come right back. But I just realized I knew that was going to happen. But I'll be right back. Hang on, guys. I'm coming.
Okay. I'll hold down the fort.
All right, here we go. I think
I can still hear you at least. Oh, there you go.
Is that better? Is that a better picture?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, I'm glad we helped, Micah. Let's see. What else can we chat about tonight? We've talked about scholarship. We've talked about applications. We've talked about the campus. I guess we need to address a little bit about the COVID, I guess, situation. I hate to use that word, but obviously our priority number one is to make sure everybody is healthy and safe on campus. We still plan on having an in-person session. It might be slightly different than we've done it in the past because we may be limited to how many people we can put on Dana stage at one time. So, and then there may need to be bigger breaks in between so that we can, take care of the facility and spray it down or whatever they need to do to make sure that it's safe for the next group to come in. We will be using a company that's going to be doing our testing for us for the COVID. They'll test everybody upon arrival, and then basically you will quarantine for a little bit until we get the results back to make sure that you're negative. And then we'll test again, about a week or so after arrival to make sure that for those of you who are coming by, plane or other things, although the driving, you can get it just as bad at a gas station, I guess, as you can on a plane these days. But we just want to make sure that everybody is safe and healthy, and so that we have sort of like an EMF bubble, I guess, where we can all be together and do what we love to do, but do it safely. Okay, what is a normal day like? How long are rehearsals, private lessons? A normal day for orchestral students, you have orchestra in the morning, then lunch, and then after lunch you have either private lessons or chamber music, or both. It depends on the day of the week because every day is slightly different based on individual scheduling. In the afternoons, there are master classes and studio classes, and then sectionals are a couple of days a week, and then dinner, and then in the evening there are concerts throughout the summer. So it's a pretty full schedule, but I think our students have always thrived on that. And as Chauncey has mentioned, we treat you like you're young professionals, and so you do get that intense experience of what it's like to start a program at the beginning of the week and perform it at the end of the week. And, that's the time you get, and that's what we go with. And I'm always amazed at how much progress is made from the beginning of the week till the performances. I'm just astounded at the talent that we have at the festival in summer. It never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that, Melissa, about the repertoire that the student orchestras play. Often, those of us in the professional orchestra are envious of the repertoire, because you guys play stuff, the same level. It's not watered down versions of Beethoven 5 or Tannhauser. You guys play the real thing, and a lot of times your repertoire is even more exciting than ours. We're like, wow, this is going to do Mahler 5. We're not going to do Mahler 5 this week. And Melissa's right. I sat in on some of those first rehearsals and then come to the concert and just amazed at the progress that's made. And it's something. It's really something. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, we may end up having to change out, and because I don't know that we'll be able to do Mahler maybe, but with that takes a few more people on stage than I think we can safely have, unless things change significantly in the coming months. But you can guarantee that it's going to be some amazing rep, and you're going to have a great time regardless of what the music is. We may be doing some more non-traditional, smaller chamber ensembles, that have, different instrumentation and things like that. But it'll be a good time, and it'll be things that will be challenging to everybody, but also rewarding as well. Rehearsal time. In the past, the orchestra rehearsals for the students have been, it's been a 3-hour time rehearsal time with a break in between, but that may have to change again this year, you know, depending on protocols and things of that nature. But we'll be, you know, exploring those options, you know, in the coming months as we get prepared for campus. Private lessons, you get 1 hour a week, but I can almost guarantee you that you probably will end up getting more than that over the course of the summer. Most faculty are very giving of their time, and you know, they're always available to help you if you have questions, even if it's not your official time slot. So I know that I don't know that anybody has ever, you know, gotten just exactly what they were supposed to get if they asked for more. I think they're always very generous. Let's see. Chauncey, what is your teaching guidance at EMF? What do you enjoy offer as a viola teacher at EMF? I think that's what it says. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess they're wanting to know.
Wow. Okay. What do I offer? Well, I just tell you a little bit at the risk of reciting my resume, that I've had a wide variety of experience professionally. I started off in orchestras, the principal viola of the Denver Symphony, now Colorado, and principal viola of Buffalo Philharmonic. Then I joined the Miami String Quartet, and we won a few competitions and toured extensively. Then I played with the Fine Arts Quartet, and that kind of ended my full-time chamber music career. And I came back. That's when I came back to EMF. And since I've been in Miami, I've been principal viola of the Florida Grand Opera. I was a little while before the opera principal of the ballet, so I did some ballet, and I'm principal of the Palm Beach Symphony here. And I do have a string quartet, although we don't play as much as, you know, we do other things too, which I like. So I played a lot of Broadway. I also play in a group called New Deco Ensemble, which is, they like to call it genre bending. They play a lot of crossover stuff, really good quality stuff, but a lot of music that's influenced with Caribbean and jazz and classical music all combined. So I try to bring all of that I've learned. I mean, you know, to the course we bring the fundamentals and the technique of playing viola and string. And I also pass along what I've learned from my teachers. Michael Tree and the Guarneri Quartet, Robert Vernon, who was principal viola of the Cleveland Orchestra, and all the great conductors that I've played under. I try to bring that to you. And like I said, you know, that's kind of the tradition of classical music, or any music, really. I think any art form is to pass down what you've learned to the next generation. And so that's what I do. I try to pass on what I've learned from these great masters that I've studied with and that I've performed under. I try to share that knowledge and pass it on. And that's what it's all about for me. That's my philosophy.
Yeah. That's the hallmark of a great teacher. So, other questions out there tonight? I don't see anything that I've missed. I think we've covered everything that we had out there. Let's see. We do have other programs at EMF. We've been talking mostly about orchestral, but we do have a piano division. We have a conducting institute. We have a classical guitar 2-week intensive, and then we have a euphonium tuba 2-week intensive. So we have all of those and plus we have a string fellowship program, which sort of bridges the gap between being a student and, you know, up to where you're looking to be get a job playing as a professional musician. So it sort of bridges the gap between those things. So though we have quite a variety of programs during the summer, and the fun thing about being on campus is with all these different programs coming through, you'll hear orchestra concerts, you'll hear piano recitals, you'll hear tuba euphonium, you'll hear classical guitar, you'll have faculty chamber, student chamber, and, you know, and all kinds of things. We have a concerto competition for the orchestral and piano students. And those are featured with our Young Artists Orchestra at the end of the summer. And so, I mean, it's just like so many different kinds of music going on during this small window of time. And you can really, really take in a huge variety of things. And it's not just orchestral if you like to do other things too. So music is music.
Absolutely. And there's something every night. I mean, even in the first week, I'm amazed that right away it hits the ground running. There are concerts that start right away, and it's always something to go to. There's always something to listen to, and it's always something to learn. I don't think a day goes by at EMF, whether I was a student or in the faculty, that I didn't learn at least 5 new things that I didn't know, and that's consistent. Doesn't matter how many years I'm there. I'm learning something new every day. So a few things new every day, every single day. Yeah. And I think it's hard to say that in life in general. But at EMF, it just, even if you don't try to learn, you're going to learn anyway. It's amazing. But come there, I'm not trying not to learn. But I'm just saying that's the amount of information and just knowledge that you're surrounded by, and these musicians and these artists that are coming in and coming and going, and the ones that stay there, that are in residence. It's amazing. It really is truly amazing.
Yeah. Well, and, and like you were mentioning earlier, just going to as many different master classes, it doesn't have to be your instrument. It can be any instrument, and you're going to learn something, even, if it's not going to be apples to apples, but it's all music, and there's something to be learned from every instrument, every player, because, there is something that is relatable or translatable into whatever instrument you're playing. And I think you can get as much out of it as you want. And if you take advantage of all of those other kinds of things, and I just think, again, that's what makes our program special.
I have one little anecdote about that, Melissa. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. No.
This is a personal, something that happened to me last week. We played an all-string program with Maestro Schwartz, our music director, and there was a violinist who hadn't played under him yet with the Palm Beach Symphony. She played under our old music director. And after the concert, she went, "Wow, he was great." She said, "You know him pretty well, right?" I said, "Yeah, I know Jerry pretty well." I didn't know what she was going to ask me, but I was like, "Yeah, I know him pretty well." She said, "Well, tell me this. How does he know so much about string instruments? How does he know about bowings and fingering? He's always talking about what part of the bow we're going to play in and what finger he wants us to use." He said, "You know what?" I said, "You know what, Wei Fong? I asked him that after my first summer there with him. I said to Jerry, how did you learn so much?" He's a trumpet player, right? Great, incredible trumpet player. You should check out his recordings, guys. If you've never heard Gerard Schwartz trumpet, you should check him out. Anyway, I said, "Maestro, how did you learn so much about string playing?" And he says, "Well, it's quite simple. When I thought I wanted to be a conductor, I thought, I got to learn about string playing. It's the largest group in the orchestra." So he went to master classes. He said, he went to everybody's master class, Dorothy DeLay, Leonard Rose, and he'd ask them questions. Lynn Harrell, he'd ask them questions about this and that. And that's how he gained his knowledge. And that's why he's such a complete musician. And I think, anything like that starts at the top. I think the fact that he is like that, it spreads to us, and then we spread it to the students. And I think that's really, really critical and a wonderful, wonderful aspect of EMF to have him in leadership, because that really pervades the whole festival. And it's kind of a theme.
Yeah, he is extremely giving of his time. So
he's at everything. I mean, I've never seen him. He's at all the concerts. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway.
Let's see. One other question. Do the programs mix in chamber ensemble studies? Yes, we do. Well, with the orchestral program, we'll do, there'll be some string quartets and trios and things of that nature, but there'll be other mixed things like the Brahms horn quintet or horn trio, or the Beethoven sextet or septet or something that'll mix strings and winds. So there is a variety of participation. And when our guitar program comes on, they even do some chamber music with some of the students for the 2 weeks they're there. And that's very unusual for them to have that option to play with other instrumentalists. Usually they're mostly playing with other guitarists. And so they really appreciate that opportunity to be able to play with other instruments, which is, again, unusual for them. So yes, there is quite a bit of variation in the chamber music ensembles that are participating during the summer.
And there's some great pieces. I'd just like to add some wonderful pieces for guitar and strings, for instance. Just wonderful pieces don't get played very often. And it's not often that you have these level of guitar players that are able to play and read like this. So it's a real bonus, without a doubt.
Yep. So, but yeah, we have brass quintets, wind quintets. You know, we have a trombone choir. We have, you know, lots of different things. So there's, you know, there's something there for everybody. All right. Any other questions? Ah, yes. EMF is a family atmosphere in so many ways. That's correct. Because a lot of our faculty have their young'uns there too. So
and their pets.
And their pets. Yeah. But yeah, so it is a very much a family atmosphere and a really great place to spend some summertime. Plus the campus is beautiful, and it's just it's very inspirational. I know that, you know, during the rest of the year I might not think about things as much, but when I'm there, it's in the summertime and I hear all these young talented students play, it really inspires me to want to up my game.
Oh, absolutely. It inspires me too. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
if you come out, you won't be the same person and musician that you went in. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
That it's going to affect you in a very positive way. No doubt about it.
Well, and I think one of the biggest things is, you know, during the summertime, most people, you know, that's their time to sort of chill out and lay off. And, you know, that to me, that's not a good recipe, but, you know, this way it keeps you going and it inspires you. And then when you get back to school in the fall or your, you know, youth orchestras or college orchestras, you are eager to go and excited to share what you've learned. So I think it's beneficial to the students, but it's beneficial to the ensembles they're playing in as well.
Yeah. I always made the most progress over the summer. And I always made the most progress, and I come back in the fall and I'd be much further along than I was when I left in May or June.
Yeah. And you're going to make so many friends during the summer, people that you'll stay in touch with, you know, some of them all your life. And, you know, I mean, there are people that I met during a summer that I'm still in touch with them today. And none of us are doing what we thought we were going to be doing in the future, but we still stay in touch and we're very involved in seeing what's going on in each other's lives. So I think those connections mean the world, and you know, they're very helpful. And because the musical community, even though it seems big, it's really a small community. And
really?
You know, those connections you make, you know, they could potentially help you in the future. And you know, it's you shouldn't be doing it for that reason, but as a side benefit, you know, you can make some connections that could conceivably help you out someday in the future.
Absolutely.
Well, I guess if we don't have any more questions, I guess we'll call it a night, Chauncey.
All right, Melissa. So, you.
I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me and chat about EMF. It's a pleasure talking to you, and I can't wait to see you in the summer. It's not the same over video.
No, any chance I get to speak about EMF, I'll do it. You know that. I love it.
Yeah.
So much.
Well, thanks again. You have a great evening, and I'll say good night to everybody. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help at any point. I can be found through email or phone. Usually email is the best option because I keep my phone attached at the hip most of the time. So I'm usually able to respond quickly that way if I'm not around the phone at my desk or not at my phone. But yeah, so feel free to reach out. And if you have any questions about the application process, about EMF in general, about what you need to do, or if you know you're having trouble with the application, or if it's going to be a day or two late, just talk to me. I've got all the answers.
She does. That's true. She's telling the truth there.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. Bye.